Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a little special because we're diving straight into an orchid revival. As you can already see, the leaves are showing heavy signs of distress. They've lost the firmness and elasticity that healthy orchid leaves usually have. Instead of standing upright, they're drooping downward, almost folding in on themselves. The surface looks dull and faded, no longer carrying that fresh green vibrancy. In certain areas, the green has shifted to a pale yellow, and in some spots you can even see brown patches forming. These patches often suggest dehydration, sunburn, or sometimes the beginning of fungal or bacterial problems taking hold. If I gently run my fingers along the leaf, I can feel how soft and flimsy it's become, almost paper-like. In fact, some edges crumble or break apart very easily with just the lightest touch. That brittleness is a strong indicator that the tissues inside the leaf have already died and can no longer transport nutrients. Altogether, this combination of drooping posture, discoloration, and fragile texture makes it very clear that this orchid has been under stress for a long time. It's not just a cosmetic problem. These are survival signals. The plant is telling us that its energy reserves are running dangerously low, and if we don't step in now, it may not recover at all. Let's start by carefully removing the damaged leaves from the plant. The reason we do this is to prevent any further nutrients from being wasted on leaves that are already too far gone. These dying leaves aren't able to photosynthesize properly, so instead of helping the plant, they're actually draining what little energy it has left. You can even peel it away gently with your fingers. Make sure to discard the removed leaves right away, as they can harbor bacteria or fungi that might spread to other parts of the orchid. By removing these weak leaves, we're redirecting the plant's energy toward the healthier tissues that still have a chance of survival. Now, take a clean pair of scissors or shears and carefully cut off one of the stems from the plant. We'll be setting this piece aside later because we're going to use it for propagation. Cutting off a stem might feel like a bold move, but this method allows us to give the struggling orchid a second chance, while also creating the possibility of new growth from the stem cutting. As soon as you make the cut, you'll notice the inside of the stem is still full of life. The tissue will appear moist, and in some cases, you may even see sap or fluid dripping down from the cut area. That's completely natural. It's a sign the plant still has resources stored inside. However, there's also a chance you'll find a leaf attached to this cut section that looks soaked, mushy, or even slimy from the excess fluid. If that happens, we need to immediately remove that leaf. Leaving it on would only encourage rot and bacteria to spread, which could compromise the cutting we want to use for propagation. Once you've removed the weak leaf and cleaned up the cut, set the healthy portion of the stem aside. We'll treat and prepare it properly in a later step. As for the main orchid itself, don't worry, it still has a fighting chance. By trimming away these compromised parts, we're giving it space to recover. With the right care, cleaning, and nutrition, we can nurse it back to health in time. Now we're going to proceed with cleaning the stem cutting. Take it gently in your hand and use a spray bottle filled with clean, fresh water. Give the stem a light but thorough rinse, making sure to wash away any sap residue, dust, or hidden particles that might cause infection later on. A gentle spray is enough. You don't want to damage the delicate tissue or force water into any small wounds. As the water runs down the surface, you'll notice how the stem looks fresher and cleaner, almost like it's been revived already. This cleaning step is crucial because it not only removes potential pathogens, but also prepares the cutting for the treatment we're going to apply afterward. Think of it like giving the stem a fresh start, free from anything that might slow down its ability to develop roots or new shoots in the future. After spraying, you can carefully pat it dry with a clean tissue or a soft handkerchief. We don't want it soaking wet when we apply protective treatments, but it should still retain enough natural moisture to stay healthy. Next, we're going to prepare a simple but powerful fertilizer solution. Start by adding 1 teaspoon of cinnamon into a clean container, along with pouring in about 500 milliliters of hot water. The heat will help release the compounds from the cinnamon and allow them to blend more effectively into the water. Cinnamon is well known for its natural antifungal and antibacterial properties, making it an excellent choice to help protect and strengthen weak or freshly cut orchids. After stirring, cover the container with a lid, and to lock in the warmth, wrap it tightly with a towel. This resting period is important. Let it sit for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, it's time to move on. First, carefully remove the towel and take off the lid. You'll notice the water has taken on a darker, richer color as the cinnamon has released its natural compounds into the solution. Give it one more gentle stir. This helps remix any cinnamon particles that may have settled at the bottom, ensuring the liquid is well balanced and evenly infused. Now, to make sure our fertilizer is clean and easy to use, we need to filter out all the particles that can't be broken down. Take a fine strainer or a piece of mesh cloth and place it over another clean container. Slowly pour the cinnamon solution through the strainer, allowing the liquid to pass through while catching all the larger bits and residue. This step is very important because we want a smooth solution that won't clog up spray bottles or leave clumps when applied to the plant. Next, we're going to start applying our cinnamon solution. Take a clean tissue or soft cotton pad and dip it directly into the warm solution, making sure it's fully soaked but not dripping excessively. Begin with the stem cutting you prepared earlier. Gently brush the soaked tissue across the surface of the stem, paying special attention to the cut ends. This will help disinfect the wound, reduce the risk of rot, and encourage the stem to heal properly so that it has a better chance of developing new roots. Once you're done with the stem cutting, repeat the same process on the orchid plant itself. Lightly brush the solution along the leaves and around the trimmed areas where you removed old or unhealthy tissue. This step not only nourishes the plant with the antifungal and antibacterial properties of cinnamon, but it also strengthens the plant's surface, making it less prone to infections while it recovers. Now we're going to enrich our solution with a very special ingredient called aloe vera. Aloe vera is well known as a natural booster for orchids. It contains vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and natural growth hormones that not only promote faster root development, but also help the plant recover from stress and damage. Pour about 40 milliliters of the aloe vera into a small container. Then carefully add it into the cinnamon solution we just prepared. Once it's in, take your spoon or stir stick and mix everything together thoroughly until the aloe blends evenly with the solution. Next, we're going to prepare a small container and fill it up with the solution we just made. Now, carefully place the stem into the container. Pay close attention here. We only want the body of the stem to be submerged, not the top or any leaves that may still remain. Keeping just the lower part in the solution allows the nutrients and natural compounds to be absorbed directly where new roots will eventually form. Leave it undisturbed and allow it to sit for about 25 minutes. While we wait for the stem to soak in the solution, let's make good use of our time and not let any of this mixture go to waste. We can apply the same treatment to the other orchid plants around. Start by preparing a clean tissue or cotton pad. Dip it into the solution, making sure it's fully soaked but not dripping too much. Then, gently wipe it across the leaves of the orchid, covering both the top and underside of each leaf. The underside is especially important since this is where pests and dust often collect. Next, use the same method to wipe down the main body of the orchid. This helps remove any dirt, lingering pests, or fungal spores, while at the same time letting the plant absorb the beneficial properties of the solution. Take your time here, don't rush. You want to make sure every leaf and surface gets a light coating. Next, grab yourself a clean spray bottle and carefully pour the solution inside. Once it's ready, begin to lightly mist around the orchid pot. Focus on the area close to the base of the plant where the roots meet the potting medium. A gentle mist here will keep the environment slightly humid and allow the solution to settle into the surface layer of the potting mix. This helps prevent the roots from drying out too quickly while also delivering the nutrients and protective properties of the mixture directly to where the orchid needs them most. And finally, we're going to pour the solution directly into the pot. Slow and steady is the key here. Gently pour the solution around the base of the orchid, allowing it to flow evenly through the potting medium. As the liquid makes its way down, the roots will begin to absorb the nutrients, drawing in the strength they need to recover and push out new growth. You might even notice tiny air bubbles rising to the surface, which means the solution is working its way deep into the pot, reaching roots that haven't had proper nourishment for a while. Be careful not to flood the pot. Orchids love moisture, but dislike sitting in stagnant water. After 30 minutes, carefully take the stem out of the container. You'll notice the tissue of the stem looks fresher, slightly more hydrated than before. That's the solution doing its job. Now, before moving forward, we're going to give it one last wipe. Take a clean tissue, dip it lightly into the solution again, and gently brush it across the stem. This step ensures that any small wounds or exposed areas are coated with nutrients, reducing stress on the cutting. Next, we'll move on to the cinnamon powder. Cinnamon is widely known as a natural antifungal and antibacterial agent, and it works perfectly for freshly cut plants to help seal wounds and prevent infection. Pinch a small amount between your fingers and sprinkle it directly onto the trimmed part of the stem. Make sure the powder lightly coats the entire cut surface, just enough to cover it, but not too much that it clumps. We're going to repeat this same cinnamon process with the orchid itself. Just like with the stem, the orchid has several freshly trimmed areas along its roots and possibly the leaves where we made cuts earlier. These exposed spots are vulnerable to bacteria or fungus, so it's important to treat them right away. Take a small, clean brush or even the tip of a cotton swab, dip it lightly into the cinnamon powder, and gently dab it onto each cut or wound. Work slowly, making sure you cover all the trimmed ends of the roots. You don't need to coat the entire root, just the exposed tips where you made the cuts. Now we're going to set up the stem for growing. For this step, prepare 2 cups, one regular cup without holes, and another with drainage holes that will act as a cover. Take a piece of clean foam. This will serve as both a moisture source and a stable base for the stem to sit on. Make sure the foam fits snugly at the bottom of the cup without holes, so it doesn't move around. Once the foam is in place, pour in just a small amount of clean water. You don't want it to be soaking wet, just enough for the foam to absorb and hold moisture. Gently place the orchid stem right on top of the damp foam, making sure it stands securely in the middle without leaning too much. This creates a humid, supportive environment where the stem can slowly push out roots. Now take the second cup with drainage holes and place it upside down over the first one to act as a protective dome. This helps keep humidity inside while still allowing air circulation through the holes. To secure the setup, you can use clips or rubber band around the edge so the top cup won't slip or fall off accidentally. We still have some leftover solution, so instead of letting it go to waste, let's put it to good use on the other orchids around the garden. Start by dipping a clean tissue into the mixture until it's fully soaked. Then gently wipe along the surface of the leaves. This not only delivers nutrients, but also cleans off any dust or residue that might block the plant from breathing properly. Once you've finished with the leaves, take what remains of the solution and slowly pour it directly into the pot. This allows the roots to drink up all the beneficial compounds we've prepared. By doing this, you're giving your orchids an extra boost of strength and ensuring nothing from our homemade mix goes unused. After about 4 weeks, you'll start to notice some really exciting progress. On the stem cutting, tiny root nubs will begin to form along the trimmed edges, pushing out little white or greenish root tips that are clear signs of new life taking hold. These new roots might be small and delicate at first, but with time, they'll thicken and anchor themselves, showing that the propagation is working exactly as planned. As for the main orchid, you'll also see encouraging changes. The base of the plant will begin to firm up, and small new leaves will slowly emerge, pushing their way out from the crown. These leaves are usually lighter in color, soft green, or even slightly translucent at first, before deepening into a healthy green as they mature. Together with the forming roots, these are clear indicators that the orchid is not only surviving, but actively recovering and growing stronger. It's proof that with patience and the right care, even a struggling orchid can bounce back to life. Now let's prepare a new home for our orchid stem. Start by getting a small pot, or in this case, a clear plastic cup with proper drainage holes at the bottom. Drainage is very important because orchids don't like sitting in soggy conditions, and this will help prevent root rot later on. Begin by filling the bottom with a layer of pine bark, spreading it evenly so the stem will have a stable base. Pine bark is ideal because it allows air to circulate freely around the roots while still holding just the right amount of moisture. Next, cover the surface with a soft layer of moss. This will help keep the humidity around the young roots, making it easier for them to grow and establish themselves. Once the moss is in place, gently position the orchid stem in the center of the pot, making sure the new roots are facing downward so they can quickly make contact with the bark and moss. Finally, add just a little more moss on top to secure everything in place, but don't pack it down too tightly. You still want airflow around the roots. And with that, our propagated stem now has a cozy new home where it can continue growing strong. At this point, you want to begin your regular care routine for the orchid. Start with light watering, just enough to keep the pine bark and moss slightly moist but not soaked. You can also mist the plant with a spray bottle once or twice a day, especially in the morning. This will keep the humidity levels up, which is very important for newly developing roots. And there you have it, everyone. We've managed to give this struggling orchid a second chance at life. With a little patience, the right homemade solutions, and consistent care, even the weakest orchids can bounce back stronger than ever. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, share your own orchid tips in the comments below, and subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss future updates. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you, fellow orchid lovers, in the next video.